Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. I always appreciate your presence. Today is July the 3rd, 2022. So I share some updates on Ethiopia and other uh, news. The first concern is the high deployment of military other security forces in Oromia region by Abiy Ahmed, who claimed to be in a peaceful person when he was talking about the Tigray issue. Their priority is peace in the country, but by all account, by all his action, he is a war. He's a warrior. He doesn't want to settle conflict through a peaceful means or a dialogue. So now uh, Oromia already has been suffering for the last 3 years under his administration. Now he is getting more enforcement, more military force, including borrowing some Fano militia and Amara militia from Amara region. Uh, after after they created the Tole massacre, Tole Gimbi massacre, and blamed on the OLA to get support from the Amara region and to get more support from other regions. Now he's getting military assistance, military support from Amara region. So massive movement of armed security forces uh, entering the Oromia region. It has been reported by OMN and other medias. So this high movement, high deployment of military force into Oromia region is going to create more atrocities, genocide that already happened in the Tigray region. The whole world talked about. So now Oromia in a high scale will face genocide, rape, destruction of properties, uh, and the suffering of Oromo. So we have to speak up against this, write to the White House, write to the senators, tweet on the Twitter account, on a Facebook. We have to raise awareness about this genocide. These are the same group committed war crime, genocide in Tigray region. Now they are heading in a big number into Oromia region, not to settle the situation in a peaceful manner, but to create more bloodshed and more atrocities, more genocide in Oromia region. So this is one update I want to share with you. So high deployment in Wallagga, East and West Wallagga, and Central Shore region and the Guji zone. Actually, all areas are under this heavy deployment of forces by Abiy Ahmed, including the forces, the criminal forces from Amara region. So we have to follow it. We have to speak about it before they created, genocide, and let the world know. Let the United States know. Let the European Union know about it. Let the United Nations Human Rights Commission, Amnesty International, let them know about this ongoing onslaught on civilians, not on OLA. No, they are burning civilian houses and killing and the mass detention of Oromos. So we have to speak up against this. And this is a very serious matter and must be stopped. And the the peace dialogue, peaceful resolution should be given a priority instead of waging unnecessary war for the just prosperity party power or Abiy Ahmed uh, kingdom. So we need to oppose it, and that these guys are criminals, too much blood on their hand, and please speak up, expose it, share it, and tweet about it, and write to your representatives, senators, uh, to the president. Write about it, and email them. Let them know what's going on in Oromia. So that's one thing. The other thing is the Tigray region, despite some government claim, sending, allowing International Red Cross and others to, deliver some medicine, but Dr. Tewodros Adhane is still tweeting that region is still encircled, are still under embargo. So nothing is changed. Nothing is changed. But maybe some medicine, some basic stuff, maybe go through so many restrictions. But in general, nothing changed in the Tigray region, still under embargo, according to Dr. Tewodros Adhane, World Health Organization director. So nothing changed. The other thing is the Amara region is still, even though they are sending forces into Oromia region, they are also facing tough challenge in their fight against these Fano militias, those who are not affiliated with Abiy Ahmed, those who are challenging the system, those who are, fighting for Amara. So there is a very tough, stiff resistance by the public, by the Fano against Amara regional and federal forces in Amara region. I don't know Bahar Dar if they lifted the restriction. There was imposed restriction in Bahar Dar or Amara region's capital city on the three-wheel taxis. After certain time, local time, they cannot move around. So there is a restriction on these basic services, three-wheel taxis, because of the tension, the security situation. The other thing, Oromos are also in some kind of tension or conflict or like controversy over the days of Ustaz Kamal Hibo. Ustaz Kamal Hibo. This is a sheikh, decided to join OLA to fight for Oromo causes. According to Oda Tarbi and others, he died on a line of duty. So some individuals or Facebookers or YouTubers try to get points or increase their viewers, claiming some kind of conspiracy against Ustaz Kamal. So this is not right. This will not benefit the Oromo people, creating tension, controversy like they created on Johar Mohammad's opinion on Johar Mohammad's speech. So always they try to bring something so they can create tension or unnecessary diversion from the objective. So objective is we have a problem in Ethiopia, we have a problem in Oromia, and Oromos are suffering, Oromos are dying, Oromos properties are destroyed, and we want to change that system. So we don't need any diversion or tension or controversy. So please, those YouTubers, Facebookers, stop this controversy, stop this tension, and stay focused on your main objective. So these guys sacrificed for your freedom, nothing else. He decided to join the army, the OLA. He died in the line of duty. So no controversy, no issue, no other tribe issues try to create uh, or oil another OLA members try to attack because of his religion or because of something else. No, these are all fake. It could be Prosperity Party spreading this news, this information. Please stay away from controversy. Focus on your objective and speak up on your people suffering right now under Abiy Ahmed leadership. So that must be clear. Please stop. He is, he died. He died for your cause. He died for the cause of Oromo's freedom, nothing else. So rest in peace, Ustaz Kamal Ibo. Uh, your sacrifice will not remain in vain. Okay, let's continue to the other news. I have also the video to share at the end. Uh, thank you again. And let me read. This is on about after several complaints by parliament members and even walkout. The parliament now, officially condemned the attack in Oromia region. The House of People's Representative, it strongly condemns the recent massacre of civilians in West Wallagga and elsewhere in the country. The House issued the condemnation after a discussion between the leadership of the security and a senior member of the House on current national issues. The Speaker of the House, Taggese Chafo, came under criticism after 4 members of parliament representing the National Movement of Amara walked out of an ongoing parliamentary session protesting against the Speaker's refusal to include the killing in Western Oromia of mainly Amara community members as an agenda item following the request from Parliament member Desalegn Chaney, PhD. There were also growing public discontent after the Parliament failed to issue National Mourning Day for the victims of the atrocities on 18 June in Tole Kabale, West Wallagga Zone in Oromia Regional State. In addition to the criticism, the opposition National Movement for Amara also requested the Speaker to call on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to appear before Parliament to explain why his government is unable to stop the ongoing genocide against the people of Amara and why it has not been able to provide adequate support to the victims who are displaced by the recent attacks in Western Oromia at a time when Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his government repeatedly state that they have built the capacity and enough security forces to ensure the security of our country and its people. The parliament didn't respond to the request, but 8 MEPs will work with the concerned parties to address the urgent issues that need to be addressed, including working with the security apparatus and other government bodies for the survival of our people. Bilene Siyum, spokeswoman at Office of the Prime Minister, has told foreign media correspondent Thursday that 338 people were killed in the attack, which she blamed on the rebel group Oromo Liberation Army. But the group has denied involvement and called for an independent investigation. Yeah, if they blame Onak Shene, Ole, why they refuse independent investigation if they don't want to hide something. So the United Nations Commission on Human Rights on Ethiopia said that it received reports of the killing of between 200 and 500 civilians in an alleged massacre in western Oromia, which are investigating. Okay. The Commission of Human Rights on Ethiopia is alarmed about continued report of alleged violation of international human rights, humanitarian and refugee law across the country, with the civilians bearing the brunt of the suffering. The Commission has submitted its first report to the UN Human Rights Council Thursday, in which it expressed concern that the continuing violence and the restriction imposed by various parties have resulted in a complex humanitarian crisis, which, coupled with drought, has exacerbated the misery of millions of Ethiopians and spurred the flight of tens of thousands of others to neighboring countries. Commission Chair Kari Betty Murungi told the UN that any spread of violence against civilians, fueled either by hate speech or incitement to ethnic-based or gender-based violence, are early warning indicators and a precursor for further atrocity crimes. According to her, this and the protracted humanitarian crisis, including blockades to food and medical aid, supplies and services, pose grave risk to the Ethiopian civilian population and to people in the region. Yes, that's true. But Abiy is still doing it. Still restriction on Tigray region and still conducting war crimes and also shutting down phone service so the world will not know what is happening in Oromia especially. World Bank approves 180 million to step up support for refugees host communities in Ethiopia. Okay, this is good. Good news for the suffering of our people. The World Bank of Executive Directors approved the second phase of the Development Response to Displacement Impacts Project in the Horn of Africa, DRDIP2, for 180 million in International Development Association, IDA, financing to help Ethiopia improve access to basic social and economic services, expand livelihood opportunities, and enhance environmental management for refugees and their host communities. Approximately 2.5 million people in Ethiopia, of whom 1/3 are refugees and at least 50% are women, will benefit from the new financing to DRDIP. This ongoing project has already assisted over 5 million people in Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda since 2016. DRDIP2 will expand the geographic scope of the project to cover all communities in Ethiopia affected by refugees' presence and to deepen support for the implementation of the government's refugee inclusion policies. Refugees are included as a direct beneficiaries of this new phase, and their concerns will be better integrated into local development planning with a special focus on women's economic and social empowerment. The government has also agreed to third-party implementation and monitoring in area at high risk of ongoing conflict to ensure that needs in all refugee hosting areas in the country are met. DIP2 activities will complement humanitarian support for refugees and host communities, said Boutania Gurmazi, World Bank Director of Regional Integration for Africa, the Middle East, and North Africa. This will help the ongoing transformation of the government's refugee response approach from a short-term humanitarian model into a more sustainable and long-term development approach. Ethiopia has long been a generous host to refugees, and its policy response to forced displacement has been progressive. It is the third largest refugee hosting country in Africa and the ninth largest worldwide. Most refugees in Ethiopia originate from South Sudan, Somalia, and Eritrea and face protracted displacement due to regional instability. They reside in camps which are generally located on the periphery of the country. DIP2's activities respond to the impacts of the refugees' presence by upgrading and constructing public infrastructure such as schools, health centers, water systems, roads, and markets for better services and to address the strain that refugee inflows can place on service provision. Activities to mitigate environmental degradation are also included. To leverage the opportunities presented by refugee inflows, livelihood activities support income generation for host communities and the refugees to become self-reliant and reduce dependence on humanitarian aid. Credit at this standard. This is from Ethiopia Foreign Office website about, which ambassador is Sleshi Bakala, officially presenting his credential in the United States for Joe Biden. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of #Ethiopia to the United States, Sleshi Bakala has presented his credential to President Joe Biden. He also attended an event hosted by Secretary Blinken and his wife. Ambassador Sleshi also had a substantial bilateral meeting with Ambassador Mali Fee, Assistant Secretary of State. So officially now he is an ambassador representing Ethiopia at US. Ambassador Sleshi Bakala. He was the head of the GERD Renaissance Dam. Now he sent him as an ambassador. $820 million in new U.S. military assistance for Ukraine. We are paying for Ukraine war. And I think that war has no ending sight. Ukraine is burning. Ukraine is destroyed. And maybe our money is, it's good to help the refugees, the Ukrainians suffering, but it's not ending the war. Our all assistance, military, financial, and other assistance is not stopping Russia from destroying that country. I don't know why they didn't decide to engage militarily instead of pouring money and weapons. It's meaningless, meaningless. You know, if you want to stop Russia, bring soldiers from NATO, Ukraine, and face, fight face to face. That will, you know, stop the war. It might create third world war, but just pouring money and pouring weapons and staying away from the war will not stop Russia from bombarding and destroying that country, and they are controlling more areas. Okay, let's see. This is from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Ukrainians continue to face a brutality highlighted once again this week by an attack that struck a shopping mall filled with civilians. They continue to fight for their country, and the United States continues to stand by them and their just cause. As the United States prepares to commemorate our independence, we remain committed to the independence, security, sovereignty, and the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Pursuant to a delegation of authority from the President, I am authorizing our 14th drawdown of arms and equipment from U.S. Department of Defense inventories for Ukraine's self-defense since August 2021 of up to 50 million. This authorization, along with the Defense Department parallel announcement of 770 million in Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative funding, will bring total U.S. military assistance to Ukraine to more than 6.92 billion since Russia launched its brutal, unprovoked, full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24. Almost $7 billion. Our commitment to Ukrainian people will not waver, and we will continue to stand united with Ukraine. Okay. But this strategy is not working. It's not working. It's not stopping the war. February, March, April, May, June. How many months? Almost 5 months. Still the bombardment continues. So your strategy is not working. You need to come up with a different strategy. So if you want to stop this war. Okay, I think this is the last one. Okay, yeah, this is the last one. President Joe Biden announcing the recipients of Presidential Medal of Freedom. President Biden named 17 recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the nation's highest civilian honor presented to individuals who have made exemplary contribution to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, or private endeavors. President Biden has long said that America can be defined by one word: possibilities. These 17 Americans demonstrate the power of possibilities and embody the soul of the nation: hard work, perseverance, and faith. They have overcome significant obstacles to achieve impressive accomplishments in the arts and science, dedicated their lives to advocating for the most vulnerable among us, and acted with bravery to drive change in their communities and across the world, while blazing trails for generations to come. The awards will be presented at the White House on July 7, 2022. So 17 individuals announced as a recipients of Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor. So I don't read the 17, but I selected six of them. The first one is Simone Biles. Simone Biles is the most decorated American gymnast in history, which combined total of 32 Olympic and World Championship medals. Biles is also a prominent advocate for athletes' mental health and safety, children in the foster care system, and victims of sexual assault. Second, Sister Simone Campbell. Sister Simone Campbell, a member of the Sisters of Social Service and a former executive director of Network, a Catholic social justice organization. She is also a prominent advocate for economic justice, immigration reform, and healthcare policy. 3. Gabrielle Gifford. Former Congresswoman Gabby Gifford was the youngest woman ever elected to the Arizona State Senate, serving first in the Arizona legislature and later in the U.S. Congress. A survivor of gun violence, she co-founded Gifford, a non-profit organization dedicated to gun violence prevention. 4. Fred Gray. Fred Gray was one of the first black members of the Alabama state legislature since Reconstruction. As an attorney, Fred Gray represented Rosa Parks, the NAACP, and Martin Luther King, who called him the chief counsel for the protest movement. 5. Steve Jobs. You might know this one, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the co-founder, chief executive, and the chair of Apple Inc., CEO of Pixar, and held a leading role at the Walt Disney Company. His vision, imagination, and creativity led to the invention that have and continue to change the way the world communicates, as well as transforming the computer, music, film, and the wireless industries. Yeah, but he was cut short. He died, I think, in 2011. He is an Apple man for the success of Apple cell phone and other industries. The last one, we are 17, I'm not reading 17, just selected. John McCain. John McCain, you might also know, is a senator, very gentleman, very nice gentleman, very respectful. John McCain died in 2018, was a public servant who was awarded a Purple Heart with 1 gold star for his service in the U.S. Navy in Vietnam. He also served the people of Arizona for the decades in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, and was a Republican nominee for president in 2008 against Barack Obama. Barack Obama won that election, but this guy is very disciplined, very respectful, and he's not like former President Trump. You know, when the citizens get angry and talk bad about Barack Obama's religion, and he clarified. He said he faced the speaker, the the lady speak. I remember that one in a town hall meeting, face to face. Tell her, no, he is a good guy. He's an American. He is not, jihadist. If Trump get that opportunity, he will blow it toward his own advantage. So these are some of six of the 17 very high achieving individuals nominated by President Joe Biden for Presidential Medal of Freedom. So if you have time, watch it July 7. The ceremony will be held on July 7 at the White House. Thank you. That's the end of the reading. Couple of videos, then finish today's presentation. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Azira village may seem calm, but it's at the center of a heated dispute between Sudan and Ethiopia. For more than a century, both countries have fought for its surrounding border area, Al-Fashaga, a rich and fertile region of about 250 square kilometers. Al Jazeera has gained rare access to the village where the latest rise in violence has emerged. Sudan says 7 of its soldiers and 1 civilian were recently kidnapped by Ethiopian forces. Their bodies left mutilated.
One of the villagers was a family member. It's not uncommon for our Ethiopian neighbors to kidnap or kill us for ransom. They demand huge sums of money. We are forced to either pay or be killed.
The Ethiopian government denies the accusations. It says a local rebel group is responsible and has promised to investigate the attack. Sudan says there's no time to waste and is sending military reinforcements to the area.
Our armed forces must respond to this assault. One of our duties is to protect our citizens, homeland, and property. It is our duty to safeguard the international borderlines of Sudan.
The Al-Fashaga region lies within Sudan's international boundaries, but Ethiopians have long settled in the area and cultivated its land. Behind these Sudanese mountains, Ethiopian forces are reportedly on high alert, especially after the Sudanese army recaptured vast areas of farming land which were controlled by Ethiopia for decades. Now the threat of violence has made it difficult to farm the nearby lands.
We are gripped with fear. We are suffering. The cost of living is soaring, and women are forced to take other low-paying jobs. We no longer enjoy the dignified life we had in the past.
The tension isn't new, but it is escalating, partly fueled by border disputes, and also the construction of Ethiopia's hydroelectric dam on the Blue Nile, which Sudan fears will compromise its water supply. And now, the killing of soldiers has renewed their mutual mistrust. Katia Lopez-Udoyan, Al Jazeera.
Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Khartoum on Saturday after 9 people were killed Thursday in demonstrations against the country's ruling generals. The Sudan's Doctor Committee, which is a medical group that monitors casualties from demonstrations, says security forces shot and killed 9 people, including a child, in or near Khartoum during the rallies on Thursday. I'm here to restore the transition to a civilian rule and to end the military coup, and I am here to say that we are insisting on our stance. No power sharing, no negotiations, no compromise, and the military has to go back to their barracks and to restore the civilian government. Thursday demonstrations coincided with the widespread internet disruptions. The United States and others in the international community condemned the violence in the East African nation, which has been rocked by near-weekly protests since an October 25 coup upended its fragile transition to democracy.
At the Alameda County Fair in California, the crew from Sky Elements Drone Shows is preparing to light the sky, placing 100 drones on their marks. When night falls, they take flight. Do you think this is the way of the future?
Oh, absolutely. I think drone shows are going to become more and more common.
This 4th of July holiday, some cities are trading the boom of fireworks for the buzz of drones.
Drone shows don't have the noise element that fireworks do. They don't have the trash element, and they don't have the fire danger either.
According to the National Fire Protection Association, fireworks were responsible for igniting more than 19,000 blazes across the United States in 2018. In Klein Village, Nevada, near Lake Tahoe, didn't want to chance it and made the switch to drones.
We looked at the safety issues around fireworks. You know, I kind of look at the concept of lighting, throwing lit objects up into the sky. Is that the best thing to do at the height of the fire season?
Preston Ward is the chief pilot for Sky Elements and also has pyrotechnic experience. He says each show lasts about 12 minutes and the drones are programmed with a flight path based off a custom animated storyboard. The number of drones can range from 100 to 1,000.
Generally, our shows run between $350 and $450 a drone. So that's kind of the range, and it just scales up from there. So about a 100 drone show runs about $35,000.
For some, it's just the right price for wowing crowds with a safer alternative to a holiday tradition. Danya Backus, CBS News, Pleasanton, California.
Okay, that's the last video. Thank you again for sharing your time with me. So I repeat the urgency, the serious, about the ongoing war, high deployment of military forces, federal forces, security force, plus those the Amara Fano and Amara militia joining the federal forces to commit the same crime, maybe more crimes they carried out in the Tigray region now. They are in Oromia region to commit genocide, increase the suffering of Oromos in that region. So we, as I said, we need to speak up. We need to tweet about it, do YouTube, contact our representative, write to the White House, Secretary of State, United Nations, European Union, whatever you think helpful, please communicate in sharing this concern. This is very serious concern. Abiy Ahmed don't want to give up power like his predecessor Haile Mariam Desalegn. He gave up when it didn't work. He's a nice guy. He knows what's going on. But this guy will kill all Ethiopians for his seat. He will destroy everyone. He is with that kind of mentality. He doesn't care if the people are hungry, if the people are unemployed. He doesn't care if the people are dying. He doesn't care. Only he cares about his seat and about his power. So he determined to kill as many lives in Oromia now. He's sending forces. He's sending Amara militia, and the genocide will be repeated in Oromia. Other atrocities will be carried out in Oromia unless the whole world says something and stop these people, this person, from carrying out military operation. Sudan, they are very courageous people, very courageous. They have been out on the street since al-Bashir was ousted. People are dying, yes. People are injured, yes. But they are very courageous, dedicated. I hope Ethiopians will be like that, instead of fighting against each other. Now the Amara students, they are doing good job, even though the shutdown by security forces in Addis Ababa, heavy security forces, because Abiy don't want them to speak their mind. So they are doing good in their regions, resisting the system, speaking against Abiy Ahmed leadership, failed leadership. They are doing a good job, including initiating the public. But doesn't have teeth, doesn't have strength unless combined with Oromos, unless they convince Oromos with the objective of, defeating this guy, removing this failed leadership. If Amara stand up, Oromos, slow down. When the Oromos get up, fight Abiy Ahmed, the Amaras are sitting and watching. You cannot bring change in that country in such a way. All Ethiopians, they know the system is not working, but they are silent. And Abiy Ahmed is taking aim at them separately. So I hope they will act like Sudanese, come out strongly and resist the system. So it didn't work. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. Enjoy July 4th. Drone is a good alternatives instead of firework. So anyway, whatever you do, please do it safely. Watch your surrounding, be aware of your surrounding, and enjoy it responsibly. Happy July 4th, please. And see you again, and so long, everyone.